Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. Yes, we are back with another stream today to bring you an update on a couple different stories. There's some new reporting on Iran suggesting that an attack could happen soon, and some interesting reporting about what such an attack on Iran might look like. Also, those who follow the crypto market might know this. President Trump has said tonight that he's going to name his new nominee for Fed chair tomorrow, and there's some speculation about who's that's going to be, and it seems to be impacting the crypto market. For one, Bitcoin right now is close to 82,000. So we wanted to bring you an update on that as well. Kevin Warsh, supposedly, according to online, hearing the name Kevin Warsh a lot. So we're going to bring you an update on these stories, maybe a couple others too. And we're going to take some comments from you guys. But it's, again, a lot of people are saying Kevin Warsh. The prediction markets, well, one I just looked at is saying Kevin Warsh. So let's get updated here. I really appreciate you guys. Polymarket, I guess, is also saying Kevin Warsh. Kalshi and Polymarket are both supposedly saying Kevin Warsh. The people on them, and lots of people online. So, hey. Let's discuss it, and we're going to take your comments on the air, comments and questions at Lookner on X. You can write to me there. I'm going to be checking the chat rooms as well. Hey, I do really appreciate that we have our moderators here. Ruth is moderating right now, and Robert's May Queen over on YouTube. And then we also have, it's like a bonus stream tonight. We also have Idaho Star and Surly Dev moderating on Twitch. Hey, thanks EJ Rod for subscribing on Twitch, and Reefer AU for subscribing over there. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thanks. And our viewer Damo Sports thinks an attack on Iran seems inevitable right now. Wow. Hold on. I'm hearing myself twice. Margaret Riley is moderating over there. K. Larry Body on Facebook. Thanks to all of our moderators, everyone. So, why don't we talk about Iran to begin? Let's do that. Just give me 2 seconds here. One of our viewers said, the Knights Palace says we're coming Iran. Let me show you something real quick. The New York Times had some interesting reporting tonight about Iran too. You can see here it says, the Reuters article says, Trump says he plans to talk to Iran while Pentagon prepares for possible action. President Trump said today he planned to speak with Iran even as the U.S. dispatched another warship to the Middle East, and Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth said the military would be ready to carry out whatever the president decided. That article isn't like so up to date, but I will tell you there's some interesting reporting tonight in the New York Times. And the New York Times says that President Trump is weighing new military options against Iran. According to the Times tonight, they're saying President Trump has been weighing options in recent days that go beyond the proposals he was considering 2 weeks ago. And they say that some of the options Trump is considering even could involve American forces carrying out raids on the ground on sites inside Iran. How about that? They do say he hasn't made up his mind, the Times. Again, though, they're saying that among the options being considered by Trump is sending U.S. commandos to destroy or damage parts of the Iranian nuclear program, for example. And let's see here. But again, they report that Trump is considering options in recent days that go beyond what he was considering a couple weeks ago. What is going to happen? One of our viewers, Damon, says, no way Trump is attacking on a weekday. Yeah, just to be clear, I hope people weren't confused by this. I didn't mean to be saying by the headline that it's going to happen in 5 minutes. But there's signs that maybe it's going to happen in the coming days. The Washington Post also says Trump is weighing imminent Iran strikes. That's from the Washington Post today. Imminent. Let's see here. I'm going to show you something from this. Hey, let me take some comments from you. Bompy Womp says he always does this on the weekends. Could it be this weekend? Mama 457 Rose, our viewer, thinks it's coming soon. It's everything else says another warship. A carrier strike group has a lot of warships. What is one more? Our viewer, Wood People, two old people on a couch says, weekend when market is closed. I've also seen there's been some reporting online claiming that more resources are heading to the Middle East. I reposted one of these. OSINT Technical, who I follow, who I think is an intelligent person and knows what they're talking about. OSINT Technical posted, that's OSINT Technical, all one word, OSINT Technical. OSINT Technical posted and said, hold on, he said the same EA-18G Growlers and F-35s, these are different planes, involved in the U.S. mission to capture Maduro, started deploying towards the Middle East today. He said the fighters departing from Puerto Rico and Virginia and supported by a number of tankers arrived in Spain this evening. And he was following it on flight radar. He has some pictures too, OSINT Technical. So again, he says these are the same EA-18G Growlers and F-35s involved in the U.S. mission to capture Maduro. I also mentioned today that eLint News, who I follow, who keeps an eye on things like this. eLint News said today he reposted someone. No, eLint News reposted someone and said, where is it here? I read it earlier. eLint News said significant movement of U.S. transport flights to the Middle East resumed, likely carrying THAAD air defense battery equipment. Another account I follow, Status 6, said additional U.S. Air Force F-35A Lightning II fighter jets appear to be heading from the continental United States to Europe/Middle East. These are all posts from the last day. I think I saw something that The Economist said yesterday about this too. The Economist had an article yesterday called saying the headline, is America about to attack Iran? And they said, so for example, they pointed out that satellite images show new air defense systems deployed to Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, where America's Central Command has its regional headquarters. F-15E fighter jets used to destroy Iranian drones heading for Israel in 2024 have been sent to Jordan. The Economist says 2 weeks ago, Israel lobbied against military strikes, in part because Israel was vulnerable to Iranian attack. America is now in a stronger position to parry any Iranian retaliation. Now, yesterday, when this article came out, The Economist said, yet there have been few public signs of a surge in cargo plane flights that would accompany new deployments of Patriot and THAAD batteries. Although I just told you that today, eLint News posted that they saw what they thought are those kind of flights happening. Also, plane watchers who track transponder signals have noted several other telling developments, says The Economist. A surge of refueling tankers has arrived at Al Udeid Air Base. Search and rescue aircraft of the sort needed to find downed pilots have been heading east. There has also been a sharp increase in activity by American surveillance aircraft, which are capable of tracking Iranian radars, intercepting communications, and mapping Iranian forces, as well as a sharp increase in activity by planes that serve as airborne communications relays and could support search and rescue missions. So lots of reporting out there about more weaponry and more what would seem to be preparations happening even today for an attack on Iran. Our viewer Aaron Newburton says, Trump gives the go-ahead when no one expects it, so I don't think it will happen soon. Songbird thinks it's going to happen soon. Michael Schneider says 4K 135 just left Spokane, Washington. Now, I can't look at the flight radar myself and know. I mean, for all I know, flights I see on flight radar, fly there every day. I can see if anybody's tracking a lot of things. Let's see. I mean, there's nothing that's being tracked that much on Flight Radar 24 for whatever it's worth. The top flight only has less than 2,000 people tracking. Oh, I think this is like a surveillance drone, but there's been surveillance drones flying in this area for a long time, for weeks and weeks. That's Flight Radar 24. Hang on. We might have to do a poll here. You can see here, let's see here. The Washington Post said today, Trump backed away from striking Iran after hearing the concerns of foreign allies and military advisors who feared a less than adequate U.S. military presence in the region to repel Tehran's potential response. But Trump dispatched the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, sophisticated surveillance aircraft, and other military assets to the Middle East, even as the countrywide protests that left thousands of Iranians dead had largely stopped by the time the carrier group arrived in the region this week. The massive armada, he said in a Wednesday Truth Social post, is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. What that mission is now remains unclear. One of the viewers asked, it's like, could the U.S. capture the supreme leader? We don't know what is going to happen. A professor at Georgetown told Washington Post, now that the Iran protests have died out, he wouldn't be saying, I'm intervening to stop the killing. He may be contemplating going after regime targets. This is Professor Charles Kupchan. Charles Kupchan says Trump feels like he's on a roll, citing a drift from neo-isolationism to neo-imperialism over the past year. He feels emboldened by the assertive U.S. use of U.S. military power, and he's looking for the next win. Let's see here. They also say, while protests across Iran's major cities appear to have been squelched for now, the multitude of endemic economic problems and other difficulties that precipitated them remain, and the situation could again explode. The Post also says the U.S. naval buildup in the Middle East has continued, with the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier and 3 escort ships, warships arriving in the North Arabian Sea, said a defense official today. The strike group includes the destroyers USS Frankie Peterson Jr., USS Spruance, and USS Michael Murphy, each carrying dozens of Tomahawk missiles and air defenses. Another U.S. destroyer, the USS Delbert D. Black, deployed from Naval Station Mayport in Florida, also has arrived in the region and was in the Red Sea today, the officials said. Other destroyers, it looks like, were positioned near the Strait of Hormuz and the Eastern Mediterranean, a second official said. Additional U.S. military assets, including land-based air defenses, are expected to flow into the region, officials have said. So what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Maybe we should do a poll. I think we should do a poll. Anti-Slayers said 4 tankers left this afternoon and landed in Portugal this evening with 5 F-18 Growlers. As I mentioned earlier, OSINT Technical today, who I follow, he posted a screenshot from Flight Radar 24, and he said the same EA-18 Growlers and F-35s involved in the U.S. mission to capture Maduro started deploying towards the Middle East today. The fighters, departing from Puerto Rico and Virginia and supported by a number of tankers, arrived in Spain this evening. I think it may be time for a poll. Remember also, President Trump yesterday posted and said, a massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly, with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet, headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, than that sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission, with speed and violence, if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties. Time is running out, says Trump. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Our viewer, Marv Theodo, thinks it's definitely going to happen this weekend. Blue Forest says, so are we still in the prep phase? Not even the wait for them to mess up phase? That's a good question. Taze Vim says, oh, so it's about nukes now. Well, yeah, I mean, in this post, he doesn't talk about killing the protesters in this post. All right, let's do a poll. I'm going to put up a poll right now. When will U.S. attack Iran? Before this weekend. How many options can I have? Well, like only 4. This weekend, next week, later, never. All right, I'm posting that right now in Twitch and also on YouTube. I just posted it on YouTube. Give me a second here. I'm going to post it on Twitch. And let's see what you guys have to say about this. Oops, sorry. It's taking me a long time to type in all these options. All right, I'm going to show you what you guys are saying about this in our chat right now. Here is YouTube, what YouTube is saying. Wow, so 45% of our viewers on YouTube who have voted say this weekend. 13% say before this weekend, 17% say this week, 26% say later or never. Let's see what Twitch is saying. Oops, that's not it, obviously. Let's try this one more time and grab the Twitch results. Here, I found it. I did it. Over on Twitch, look at this. 51% say this weekend. Just 4% on Twitch say before the weekend. 12% say next week. 33% say later, never. So definitely in both polls this weekend seems to be leading. Furious Cabbage says it will be when the markets are closed. Skylar says, I hope it's never. Xena Warrior says, when it's least expected. Sunday is next week. Actually, I mean, to me, the option this weekend includes Sunday. I know, strictly speaking, Sunday is part of next week, but I was considering Sunday to be part of the weekend. PB Andre says, no way before the weekend. Rose Blake says, I would say soon considering all the distractions we're having. One of our viewers thinks it'll be just like Venezuela, they just said. Thanks for voting in our poll. So again, the winning choice in both polls is this weekend. By the way, a quick thank you to Mitchell Pilot. Mitchell Pilot thinks it'll be at least 2 weeks, especially if it's going to be as big as they say. Just because the military assets are there does not mean we are actually ready. Thanks, Tony C., our member. Bernard Tapey, our member. Rock K9, thank you for being a member. Thanks again, Mitchell Pilot. Mitchell Pilot says, not sure what markets would have to do with this kind of strike that would likely last longer than the weekend into the next market cycle. Well, there's this whole other question of how prolonged might this whole thing be. Depends on what we're doing. Thanks, Dean R. Dean R., thanks for being a member for 2 years. That's really nice of you, Dean R. Let's see here. Thanks, Big Boss Now and Edu Makashun over on Twitch for your support. Super Bowl Sunday. Ruthie B thinks it's going to be on Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl's a week from Sunday. Hang on a second here. Faytux News posted a report from Khan News that said that according to Israeli assessments, the U.S. is set to conduct a broad military campaign to topple the Iranian regime. I don't know if that's going to happen. Let me check them and see if I can find any updates on that. Where is this thing right here? I don't know where that report is exactly. I don't see the original here. So Kan News, which is an Israeli news outlet tonight, they're reporting that security sources told them that in light of the President Trump's statements, which are combined with transfer of U.S. military assets to the Middle East, including air defense components, it can be assumed that the U.S. does not intend to leave the situation in Iran as it is. Also, Kan News reported, when is this? Hold on, when is this report from? I think this is from today, like Thursday. Kan News reported Thursday that Israeli sources believe President Trump is signaling he is considering a broad move regarding Iran that includes regime change. And in case you missed it earlier, there's new reporting tonight from the New York Times that says that Trump is weighing new military options against Iran. They say that the plans Trump is weighing now go beyond those he was considering a couple of weeks ago. They say that among the plans Trump is considering are even options that include American forces, commando forces, going inside Iran to carry out raids. Also, the Times points out that that officials are skeptical that Iran will accept what the U.S. is demanding, including ending uranium enrichment, giving up its nuclear stockpiles, limiting their ballistic missile program, ending support for all proxy groups in the Middle East. The Times reports that officials don't believe that Iran will ever agree to that stuff. They say, the Times, among the riskiest operations that Trump is considering is sending U.S. commandos to destroy or damage parts of the Iranian nuclear program. It could be soon, says our viewer, the Knights Palace. Let's see. The Economist yesterday said in their article, which is called, "Is America About to Attack Iran?" The Economist said it's unclear exactly what Trump is planning. They talk about one possibility could be symbolic strikes that would allow President Trump to say he'd done something, basically to enforce his red line. They point out that you could also have much broader strikes intended to topple the regime by killing its leaders, going after the leaders. The Economist says if the U.S. wants to go after the leaders, it would probably require many days or weeks of bombing, which would require an even larger deployment of firepower than is in place today, says The Economist. And it would almost certainly prompt a larger war. Saudi Arabia and the UAE, wary of such a larger war, have refused to let their airspace be used for a military strike on Iran. A final scenario, they mentioned in this article by The Economist, is a hybrid option in which America takes out some Iranian leaders, including the supreme leader, Khamenei, before reaching an understanding with the remaining regime, like it did in Venezuela. All these different options. What is the U.S. going to do? What is Trump's goal? We don't even know what it, I mean, they have this headline tonight in the Washington Post. Trump weighs imminent Iran strikes, but what's the mission? We do not know. As you know, we mentioned Trump put out this statement threatening Iran yesterday on True Social. That statement made no mention of anti-government protests. He said the fleet going to Iran is even larger than the one he sent to the waters around Venezuela. In the same post, he demanded that Iran make a deal to give up its nuclear program or face a far worse attack than it endured with last summer's U.S. strikes against its nuclear facilities. What is going to happen? Guys, what's going to happen? I just don't know. Skylar says, let Iran decide for itself. That is not right. Lisa thinks you have to read Israeli news to find out what the mission is. Let me just check something here. Why is this button not working here? I have a button which should be doing what I need to do, and it's not translating things. Give me 2 seconds here. Hang on. Where's the options? Options. Okay, hotkeys. All right, that should work. Let's try this one more time. Oh, I think I found it. Let's see if that works. I might have just solved my problem. Now, where was I looking? Nope. I found it. Yeah, I'm going to look at some of the other Israeli sources and see what they're saying for themselves. Robo says Trump will just go after Iranian tanker ships. Oh, there's a new, I think there might be a new update from the Institute for the Study of War. Yes, new update from them. The Institute for the Study of War at understandingwar.org, Institute for the Study of War, they have an update about Iran today. They say Iran is likely trying to deter U.S. military action by deploying forces and conducting naval exercises in the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian Armed Forces General Staff affiliated outlet DIFA Press claimed today that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy deployed hundreds of fast missile launching and support vessels in close proximity to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, which is operating in the Arabian Sea. Commercially available satellite imagery also showed that the Revolutionary Guard's Navy Shahid Bagheri drone carrier is currently 6 kilometers off the coast of Bandar Abbas, a major port city that is located on the Strait of Hormuz. The Revolutionary Guard Navy's deployment of fast attack craft and missile launching vessels is consistent with Iran's asymmetric naval strategy that counters larger and more technologically advanced naval forces through high-speed and short-range missile capabilities. Western media outlets separately reported today that the Revolutionary Guard Navy in Iran will conduct a 2-day live-fire exercise in the Strait of Hormuz on February 1st and 2nd. The Iranian Navy's upcoming live fire exercise is likely a response to the USS Abraham Lincoln's arrival in the Middle East and is likely meant to deter the United States from attacking Iran. The deployment of naval assets and the upcoming military exercise are also notable because Iran did not use any naval assets during the June 2025 Israel-Iran war. Iran could respond to potential U.S. military action by threatening U.S. naval assets and obstructing international shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, says Institute for the Study of War. Iranian officials have long threatened to disrupt shipping in the strait as a way to deter the United States from implementing sanctions or taking military action against Iran. One of Supreme Leader Khamenei's advisors to the Defense Council, Ali Shamkhani, warned Iranian adversaries in October 2025 that Iran's response to any escalation in the strait would not be limited. Some regime-affiliated outlets have expressed support for disrupting international shipping to inflict an economic cost on the United States. Could they do something like this? One such outlet claimed Iran could increase the price of oil to such a degree that it would collapse the U.S. economy. Iran responded to the U.S. maximum pressure campaign in 2019 by threatening international shipping, including seizing a British oil tanker, harassing vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz, and conducting an attack targeting Saudi oil facilities. By the way, also, just to go over this, Institute for the Study of War also reported today, Iran is continuing to rebuild its nuclear facilities and is trying to fortify them against future attacks. Recent U.S. intelligence found that Iran is trying to rebuild its nuclear facilities deeper underground, according to a person familiar with recent U.S. intelligence speaking to CNN. It is unclear which specific nuclear facilities Iran is trying to rebuild deeper underground. The Iranian regime is likely rebuilding its nuclear facilities deeper underground to reduce their vulnerability to deep penetration munitions such as the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator MOP. The U.S. dropped 12 30,000-pound GBU-57 MOPs on Fordo in June 2025. That's an interesting thing. It's an interesting possibility. I'm going to post a link to this article. You can read the whole Iran update from Institute for Study of War if you want. I appreciate them letting me show that to you. I'm going to post the link right now, understandingwar.org. But this idea that Iran could mess with shipping in the Strait of Hormuz if they are attacked, I feel like people haven't been talking about that much lately, and maybe they should be talking about it more, that possibility. just to refresh us on where we're looking at here. Here's Google Maps. Oops, you know what I have to do? I have to do one quick thing here so I can show you this map. Let me do one quick thing and then I can show you the map. While I'm fixing this one thing, it'll take 7 seconds, let me show you President Trump's post from yesterday. Hold on. I'm back. I was just going to show you the map showing the Strait of Hormuz. That's not the Strait of Hormuz. There is Iran, here, there from Google Maps. There's the Persian Gulf here. So it should be right in here. Strait of Hormuz, right in there. Strategic narrow waterway next to Iran. Hey, let me say thanks to a couple people real quick. I really appreciate, wow, Candy Larson gave, I think Candy Larson, I'm not kidding you, I believe Candy Larson has given 170 people memberships. 170 people got memberships from Candy Larson. Was it even, might have been even more. Maybe it might have been even more. It's at least 170. So please make sure you thank Candy Larson if you got one of the 170 memberships in the YouTube chat. Was it even more? I'm looking. That's really nice of you, Candy. Make sure if somebody else gave you one or gave you a gift sub, you thank them too. But that's incredibly generous. Candy, by the way, said, so soon, so Iran, so Candy thinks it'll be soon, so Iran has less time to prepare even more. Sparky Jean, thank you, says, have we heard anything from the exiled prince? Thanks, Sparky Jean. You know, I have to check. I don't know how much Reza Pahlavi has been commenting on the military stuff. I'll check. Hang on. By the way, really quick, Faye Tux News, who I follow, posted a link to a story on Israel's Kan News, which is a major news outlet. And Kan News said that Israel believes Trump wants to act broadly and bring about the overthrow of the Iranian government. Therefore, Kan News says Israel believes a significant plan is being formulated at the Pentagon on the subject, and U.S. Central Command is accumulating more and more forces in the Middle East. An Israeli source tells Kan News there is coordination between the U.S. and Israeli militaries. You know, it just seems like... I remember when we were covering the forces building up in Venezuela, this huge force buildup near Venezuela, which is actually the one near Iran now is bigger than the Venezuelan one, but I believe, you know, at a certain point it was like, is President Trump really putting all these forces there not to use them? And we just keep hearing about more and more military resources going to the region. Hold on. Our viewer Chipe says no new wars in quotes. Um, yeah, I'm looking at the exiled Reza Pahlavi. He's the son of the Shah of Iran, who was the last leader of Iran before the Iranian Revolution. I'm looking at his post the last couple days. I really don't see much talk about U.S. military action. I'm looking. Well, I haven't watched it. He posted an interview with himself with the Fox News, and I haven't watched all of that. Our viewer, Knights Palace, says, a complete end game. Oh, thanks, by the way, too. I think Candy Larson just gave more memberships. Candy Larson has now given 200 memberships. I'm not joking. Candy Larson has given our chatters 200 memberships during the stream, which is incredibly nice of her. Thank you, Candy, for supporting the channel. It's so kind of you. Thanks to our viewer Stone in the Wasteland, who says this is exactly how it went down in Venezuela. Started bringing more and more resources to the area, and then boom, we'll see it again. I mean, we keep hearing about more resources being brought there. Thanks also Mackenzie Emerson for being a member. I gotta check. People are sending me messages. Eddie, our viewer, says the strikes on Iran are going to happen this weekend. D. Solanki, our viewer, says always after the market is closed. Name Mod Ikam Bakhshodi says war with Iran will be America's greatest single mistake and regret in history, a bigger failure than Iraq, Afghanistan, and Vietnam. Aaron Warburton, I do not have any live cameras in Iran. I generally don't. The only time I ever usually have a live camera in Iran is if somehow we have a government feed. Now, give me a moment here. Give me one moment here. By the way, Andrew Desiderio he is with Punch Bowl News, reports there will not be votes tonight on the funding package that would avoid a shutdown tomorrow. He said Lindsey Graham has a hold on the funding deal over the House provision repealing the Arctic frost provision authorizing payouts to senators. Anyways, I don't know the details about all that, but there's reportedly a deal reached, but the Senate has not actually passed the funding they need to pass. So we'll see if that can happen tomorrow. Thanks to Jay the Mus, 1538, Pablo Pena. This is a very interesting theory from Pablo. So remember, tonight President Trump, I believe, is at the premiere of the Melania documentary, right? Pablo says it will not happen this weekend because of Melania. Because I guess it would be the opening weekend of the Melania movie. What do you think about that theory from Pablo? There might be something to that. S13 thinks it makes sense. Hang on a moment here. Thanks to Naomi Russo for your support on Twitch. Hey, shout out to our moderators. We have moderating right now DeBears, Idaho Star, Mark HNC, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah and Surly Dev. We also have, hold on a second, we can undo that. We also have Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha moderate for us on X. Thanks also to our YouTube moderators. Ruth and Beezy are there right now. Thank you very much for moderating. And also thank you to guys, we haven't even talked about really the new Fed share yet. That's some breaking news tonight. We got to talk about that.
Thanks to Neil.
By the way, thanks to Michael Clayton for subscribing on Facebook. Thanks, K. Larry Body, Margaret Riley, moderating on Facebook. Christy Claft on Facebook, thanks for subscribing. Christy says, how can anyone see this as a good thing? Ann Spencer says, according to Al Jazeera English, Iran said their response will not be light this time. Ann says, I don't think some understand the wider consequences. Michael Clayton thinks we will not know the time frame. The Iranian crisis will come to the end. All right, give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. Remind me later to mention the Trump post about Canada tonight, too. We should talk about that. But we got to talk about, I think, before that, the situation with the Fed. I want to mention the Wall Street Journal today reported that Trump has received briefings on attack options developed jointly by the White House and the Pentagon. Among the options Trump has been presented with, according to the Wall Street Journal, is the big plan, which would see the U.S. strike regime and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps facilities in a large-scale bombing campaign. But there are less involved options like strikes on symbolic regime targets, which could allow the strikes to ramp up if Iran didn't start making compromises. Also, cyber attacks on Iranian banks or tougher sanctions. The Wall Street Journal says Iran is sticking to principles it has stuck to for decades. It says it won't give up, for example, uranium enrichment at home. It will not agree to constraints on its ballistic missile program, for instance. Those are things that the U.S. insists on. Our viewer D. John Ranch says, art of the deal. Our viewer Smokey thinks it will be between 24 and 48 hours. Um, Al Jazeera reports that the Israeli Broadcasting Authority says Israel maintains a high level of alert in the coming days, awaiting developments regarding Iran. Now, there's all these different reports. N12 News Israel reports that in Israel, it is believed that a limited U.S. military action would not lead to the overthrow of the Iranian regime. N12 News Israel reports in Israel, it's believed that Trump, who initially signaled he wanted to pursue a regime change move, does not think military action can lead to the overthrow of the regime. Therefore, Trump, according to Israeli estimates, wants to focus the attack on physical targets. If he orders military action, those targets could be nuclear sites and possibly ballistic missiles. But again, I do want to point out that the Wall Street Journal is reporting tonight that today they're reporting that Trump has received briefings on attack options, including the big plan, which would see the U.S. strike regime and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps facilities in a large-scale bombing campaign. Could President Trump not just do a one-shot thing, but some sustained bombing campaign over days or weeks? B. Reed says, the big, beautiful plan. Girth Brooks says, well, yes, that's why he brought a carrier group. The Knight's Palace says, we'll go for big prize targets. Get the F off my lawn says, I think Trump delayed the last time because Israel was not ready to be the main target in the region. Now that they have prepared, the attack will start. Anthony thinks Trump will taco, then go back to dissing Canada. Karen Moore says Trump will take out the Iranian leadership. Then he can be the acting president of Venezuela and Iran. PW360 says an account named Defense Geek thinks it could be tomorrow. One of our viewers just said he or she doesn't think they're anywhere close to an attack. I mean, one way of looking at these reports that new resources are being brought in, even today, is that they're really close. Another way you can look at it is like they're just not even prepared yet. All right, hang on a moment here. Hang on one moment here. By the way, where are we at with crypto? Bitcoin is at around 83,000. You know, it was interesting. Bitcoin has gone down a bunch the last few days. Last couple days. I'm looking at a price track right now. Well, actually, on January 28th, it was at around 89,000. Now it's about 83,000. But earlier this evening, it started going down when this news started, well, around the time this news was coming out, claiming that Trump was going to pick as the new Fed chair Kevin Warsh. So we should mention this. I want to talk about this for a second. President Trump said tonight he's going to name his new Fed chair nominee tomorrow morning. By the way, just another comment on Iran. Ian says word is Trump is leading towards a massive regime change option and will try to restart the protests. I don't know where Ian is getting that from. Oh, I thought it was tomorrow. Is it Friday morning? I thought he said tomorrow. Now I'm confused. No, it is Friday. It is. No, because, right, if you're on the East Coast now, it's Thursday. Where I am, I'm in Argentina, visiting Argentina. It's Friday here. Yes, so Friday morning would be tomorrow morning. I was a little confused. I have the clock on the computer set to East Coast time, so I was a little confused. But yes, we're talking about tomorrow morning. President Trump said he plans to announce the choice for chairman of the Federal Reserve on Friday morning, a long-awaited decision that could set up a showdown on whether the U.S. Central Bank preserves its independence from the White House and electoral politics. Does this say anything about Kevin Warsh in this article? Because I've seen a lot of talk online of Kevin Warsh, and also the prediction markets I've seen seem to be leaning towards Kevin Warsh tonight. Hold on. Reuters mentioned Kevin Warsh. Hold on, let me show you that. Here, look at this. Look, I have it. Check it out. Stocks tumble on bets Kevin Warsh is Trump's Fed pick. This is from Reuters tonight. Stocks slumped while the dollar and bond yields shot up on Friday after U.S. President Donald Trump said he has firmed his choice for a new Federal Reserve boss, with reports zeroing in on Kevin Warsh as the likely pick. Now, a natural question a lot of you might have is, right, so our viewer, Ghost says, is Kevin Warsh bad? Why is it crashing? Okay, so this sounds like a good AI question. I mean, we could ask the article too. But given that our sponsor tonight is an AI, I think we should just ask the AI, and it'll be a convenient way to talk about our sponsor for a second. The question would be, why are the reports tonight that Kevin Warsh might be named as new Fed chair tomorrow, causing stocks and crypto to go down? You could ask an AI that. Let's see what this does. See if I'll get an acceptable answer. Okay, so, by the way, real quick, our sponsor tonight is Venice AI. Venice is an AI chatbot like other chatbots you might use, like Gemini or ChatGPT. But Venice emphasizes that they have private, unbiased, uncensored AI. Anyways, I asked Venice AI. You can go try it right now. Venice.ai or Venice.ai/agenda free actually. Venice.ai/agenda free. But I said to Venice, I said, why are the reports tonight that Kevin Warsh might be named as new Fed chair tomorrow, causing stocks and crypto to go down? And Venice says, reports about Kevin Warsh potentially being named as new Fed chair are causing stocks and crypto to decline due to concerns about his monetary policy stance and the uncertainty this creates for markets. Warsh is perceived as more hawkish than current chair Jerome Powell, meaning he might be less inclined to cut interest rates despite President Trump's preference for lower rates. Okay? Forecasters believe, hold on a second here, blah, 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 blah. So again, they say that Warsh is someone who's seen as possibly unlikely to lower rates as opposed to others. And you can see actually down at the bottom here, if I can get this on the screen, let me show you this little part at the end here that it mentions. Right here, unfortunately, I can't fit the whole thing. No, I don't want to show you Radar Omega. That doesn't make any sense for me to show you. Right here. Here. The market had been betting on Kevin Hassett to succeed Powell, as he was seen as more market-friendly and likely to keep interest rates low. But Warsh's potential nomination has disrupted these expectations. Anyways, this is Venice AI. Again, real quick, they describe themselves as a private, unbiased, uncensored AI. You can try it at venice.ai/agenda free. If you use code agenda free, you can also get 20% off a pro plan. And I just want to mention one more thing about them at Venice AI. They say that, hold on a second here. I was so caught up in reading about Kevin Warsh that I forgot to pull this up here. Venice AI, they keep your conversations completely private on your device. Nothing is stored, monitored, or collected. You can ask Venice AI anything you want without content restrictions or censorship, and they don't censor or filter the AI's responses. The platform remains neutral and unbiased. So, if you want to try it, you can head over to, venice.ai/agenda free. And again, use the code agenda free to get a 20% off a pro plan. There you go. So thanks for sponsoring. Anyways, that was convenient because we got to ask it a question we were wondering about anyway. But you can try it for, just to be clear, you can try it for free, Venice AI. Okay, so yeah, so as Venice AI mentioned, some people were thinking, actually there was a lot of speculation that Kevin Hassett was going to be the Fed chair, next the new nominee, and that he would just lower rates. But now Kevin Warsh is seen as maybe somebody who won't lower rates as much. Now, something else you might ask. This is actually another good AI question, regardless of what AI I'm asking. Another thing you might ask is, well, if Trump wants to lower interest rates, why would he pick a nominee for the Fed chair who's not the one who's most likely to lower interest rates, right? You'd think if it's widely known Trump wants lower interest rates. So why is the common wisdom tonight? We're seeing the prediction markets say this. You're seeing reports online saying that he's going to choose Warsh, who is not seen as the one most likely to lower interest rates. So why would he do that? That's what I want to. So if Trump, why would Trump choose Warsh and not the person, not someone more likely to lower interest rates? Right? By the way, I just see. I'm going beyond. I just decided I was going to ask AI this anyway, so I asked Venice AI, but I didn't have to. I could have asked another AI. Anyways, Venice AI makes the point. One point they make is that Warsh perceived independence and market credibility. Warsh is viewed as an insider critic who could navigate Senate confirmation more easily due to his prior Fed experience, while still maintaining a perception of independence from the White House. So I guess the point would be that maybe Trump thinks that if he named Kevin Hassett, the world would look at this and say, oh my gosh, Trump is putting somebody as the head of the Fed chair who's going to do whatever Trump wants. And maybe part of Trump would like that, but maybe he worries about the consequences if that happens. And maybe he's decided, well, I can't do it. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I was thinking he was going to name Hassett because Hassett seems like the person who will do what Trump wants. And there's been so much talk about Hassett. Let me take some comments from you guys. Reuters says here in their article, it says, while Warsh, a former Fed governor, is seen as an advocate of lower interest rates, he is also seen to be one of the less radical choices among the various names that have been raised, and perhaps more cautious on heavy monetary stimulus than others. Bloomberg News also reported that the Trump administration is preparing to nominate Warsh as the next Fed chair. Now, this gets all complex. This expert told Reuters Warsh is on record as saying he prefers lower rates, but the trade-off is that he makes with lower rates is he wants the Fed to have a smaller balance sheet. The markets are reacting as if thinking, what would the world look like with a smaller Fed balance sheet? This is where I start to get lost. Anyways, though, he is not seen as he's seen as more hawkish on interest rates, I believe, than Hassett would be. Let me check something else here. Check another quick report. I'll take a couple comments on this too. I just want to check another report for you here about this situation tonight. If I can pull this up. If it'll work. No, that didn't seem to do it. Is the Wall Street Journal reporting on this tonight? Let's see. Yes. For the Wall Street Journal says Kevin Warsh met with Trump at the White House today. Let me take some comments from you guys on this. I don't know if you have strong thoughts on Kevin Warsh. But it did seem to be affecting the crypto market. And again, as I mentioned, stocks as well, as Reuters reported. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, stocks tumble on bets Kevin Warsh is Trump's Fed pick. RHJ believes Warsh is anti-money printing. Sell gold, buy bonds? That's what RHJ said. Again, Reuters says he is seen as an advocate of lower interest rates, but he is also considered to be one of the less radical choices among the various names that have been raised, and perhaps more cautious on heavy monetary stimulus than others. Set to Chill, our viewer, says all the president is doing is lowering trust in the Fed. Christy Claff says, since when has Trump ever worried about consequences? LJ for All says, might be his one smart move. So I will say this also. Where is this here? Bloomberg economics reporter Anna Wong posted, if Trump wants someone easy on inflation, he got the wrong guy in Kevin Warsh. And again, the prediction markets today, if you check them, like if you go to Kalshi and if you go to Kalshi and project or Polymarket or whatever, and you check the prediction markets, they really changed tonight on who would be the next Fed chair. Like it really shot up tonight. Like I'm looking at one of them that had, I mean, from what I'm looking at, yeah, I mean, Kevin Warsh was at about 30% at about 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time, it looks like. And now he's at like 90%. So I don't know, who are the predictors? What are the, so again, is that because, does anyone have inside information? Or people just reading the articles? I mean, it was reported he was at the White House today. So, but it really has changed tonight. PK, the current Fed chair, Jerome Powell, who President Trump is really not a fan of, his term runs out in May. Oh, hold on a moment. Let's see here. So again, I'm not even sure, well, I've said some different things about him, but whether it's that he's, well, anyways, the point is that he is seen as someone who's not as great for perhaps stocks as some others would be. All right. So I want to mention that. Argent Dawn says, don't forget that Trump appointed Powell. I'm sorry I'm not more of a financial markets expert to give you more background on all of this. When that news started coming out also tonight, around the same time, Bitcoin went from around 84,600 down to about 82,000. It's recovered a bit. It's about 83,000 now. Hey, thanks so much to Thomas Carlson. Thomas says, do I hear about the walkouts kids are doing? No, I don't. I don't know what you're referring to, Thomas. Thanks, Mitchell Pilot. Yeah, so for example, just to mention this again, Bloomberg had a report tonight about Kevin Warsh, and they talked to an expert, and the expert said Warsh is probably more hawkish compared to other shortlisted candidates, which may dampen expectations for further rate cuts. So what can I say? I know some of the articles say different things, but that's an expert that Bloomberg talked to that said that if Warsh is chosen, again, that may dampen expectations for further rate cuts. But again, I'm not an expert on this whole thing. Anyways, so we talked about that. I don't want to get too down that road just because that's all we have for now. But maybe we'll end up doing a stream. Look, if I find, has the White House come out with their schedule for tomorrow? Has that happened? Okay, I just saw the email for the White House schedule. I'm opening up the email. Now, there's nothing right now. There's no kind of President Trump announces the new Fed chair. Maybe he'll just post on Truth Social about it. The two things on his schedule for tomorrow are the president signs executive orders at 11. That's a common thing. That's closed press. Also, the president participates in a policy meeting. Closed press. You know what? At 2 p.m., what he's going to meet about. I don't know if he's meeting about Iran or something else. What was I going to mention? Oh, I don't know what executive orders he's signing. So I have no idea if he's going to, he said he's going to, tonight he said he's going to announce it tomorrow. Oh, there was an interesting thing. Fay Tux News heard that Marco Rubio will attend meetings and briefings at the White House tomorrow, according to release schedule. Oh, his schedule. Fay Tux News says Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, schedule says he will attend meetings and briefings at the White House, but topic not disclosed. Maybe it's Iran related. Oh, here's something I was wondering about. As we've been talking about on this broadcast before about whether an attack on Iran might be close. There's some reporting suggesting it might be. And so I was wondering about something. So earlier today, we were doing our previous stream, and I was showing President Trump. He does periodically these cabinet meetings where he has the cabinet and they live stream the whole meeting, right? And we were watching it earlier during the stream, and I said, "Hey, everybody, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. These things, a lot of times, are kind of long, and But what I'll do is I'll show you the end because he'll probably take questions at the end, which he always does. In my experience with the cabinet meetings, he would always take questions at the end. So we were watching it today, towards the end, and he just said, basically, we're done. He basically just ended it. He didn't take questions. And Caitlin Collins, who's covered the White House for a while for CNN and covered Trump, she posted shortly after that, she said, "In what I believe is a first, President Trump declines to take any questions at his cabinet meeting." Then I think what happened is, I wasn't covering it, but I believe the same thing happened when he did his announcement. He did an announcement in the Oval Office in the late afternoon, right? Well, maybe I can show you the end of it. But I believe the same thing happened, where he didn't take questions there either. Right here, I'm going to show you. I didn't watch it, but I heard about it. So let's just watch how this ended today when President Trump was doing this announcement thing. Hold on. I'm going somewhere with this.
We have any dividends that has been able to keep up.
He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Fantastic
All right.
job.
So this is the end of the event today. This isn't. I told you that at the end of the cabinet meeting, he did not take questions. This then was the end of the event today, in the late afternoon. And normally, I mean, in my experience, most of the time, he'll just start taking questions at the end of the event. Here's how the event ended today.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for supporting. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press.
So, Caitlin Collins said about that, she said, for the second time today, Trump declines to take any questions from reporters. Hard to think of a moment in the Trump presidency when that's happened before. Now, I was wondering, could that be because an attack on Iran is coming soon? Do you see is he busy planning the attack on Iran and that's why he doesn't want to take questions? I don't know. It's just a thought I had. I don't know. But it's very interesting. AS says, I told you that? Now, he also had, late tonight, he had the Melania premiere, but he's also had other night events before. I just have no idea. It's very interesting. Songbird says could be. And one of the viewers said he doesn't want to take questions about Epstein. Normally, it's something he likes doing. One of our viewers, Mario Castaneda, thinks the U.S. is ready to attack at any moment. Becky Sue says silence is golden. Brett Nexus says he had said earlier in that meeting he was running late. I don't know for what, though. Angel said he was running late in the meeting. Bonus Fact thinks most likely a tight schedule today. Ruth thought it was odd. Songbird says, I do think it's odd and notable that he didn't take questions. Greg Littrell thinks it'll be tomorrow after the stock market. Johnny Rotten thinks it'll be January 30th. Treasure Please says he did have the Melania premiere to go to tonight shortly afterward. The News Badger thinks Trump always attacks on a Friday. It's at least almost always. I believe it's happened a bunch on weekends. The Hurricane Ben says they love a Good Friday attack after the stock market closes. One of our viewers thinks it'll be during the Super Bowl. By the way, I do want to mention that And again, he did say he's going to be announcing the Fed chair in the morning. He did say that tonight at the Melania premiere. Do I have video of him there? I might even have video of him at the premiere. Well, I don't know if I do. Give me 1 second. Give me one moment here. Let's see. Oh, by the way, thanks to Treasure Please, who says Trump's keepers don't want him to spill the beans. Thanks for being a member. Thanks to Matthias Berglund, Ronald Kame, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Now, Rescue Me found a headline about Warsh on Bloomberg back in July. Rescue Me said, okay, yeah, there was an article back in July of 2025 by Bloomberg, and the headline said, Fed chair contender is now in favor of cutting rates just as Trump wants. Although I assume people in the know knew about this article. So what the article says is that when Kevin Warsh was a governor at a U.S. central bank from 2006 to 2011, he called for higher interest rates, even at the depths of the financial crisis. And the article says he's finally ready to cut interest rates. They say he's more recently become a supporter of lowering rates. But again, he is seen as not as dovish on rates as others who might be chosen. Bloomberg said that when he was on the Fed Board of Governors from 2006 to 2011, he frequently warned about inflation pressures. Also, this article from Bloomberg from July said his hawkish track record on inflation and interest rates, wanting to really focus on keeping inflation down, could hurt his chances of being Trump's pick. That's what it said in July in Bloomberg. But it's seen that now he is looking like he's going to be the pick, according to what we're seeing online and being reported. Thanks for mentioning the article, though. Rescue Me. Also, thanks to our viewer LKP LLC for your support. Thanks Tiberius Rex for your support. Tiberius says we can't lower rates because gold has overtaken the US dollar as the world reserve currency. Lowering rates will debase our purchasing power since bond auctions are falling. That's what Tiberius Rex says. Also, Tiberius Rex says now would be a really good time to show the Iranian impacts from the 12-day war. You've never been near a war, and not playing those clips to show the risks we are stepping into is criminal. That's what Tiberius Rex told me. Thanks also, Classy Kate. I appreciate it. Classy Kate, thank you. And Mitchell Pilot, who thinks it'll depend on whether there's a window of opportunity. Classy Kate believes, she mentions a report that Iran has sending money out of Iran by Bitcoin to Moscow. I can't confirm that myself. Oh, I was going to mention this, though. I remembered something else I told you guys I was going to mention, which we haven't mentioned yet. It's like our bonus stream tonight, after we were on earlier today. But I did want to mention this. For those who didn't see it, President Trump posted tonight. No, that's not it. He posted tonight and said, Based on the fact that Canada has wrongfully, illegally, and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700, and 800 jets, one of the greatest, most technologically advanced airplanes ever made, we are hereby decertifying their Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified, as it should have been many years ago. Further, Canada is effectively prohibiting the sale of Gulfstream products in Canada through this very same certification process. If for any reason this is not immediately corrected, I am going to charge Canada a 50% tariff 50% tariff on any and all aircraft sold into the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm a little confused about the decertification thing. Does that mean if you have a Canadian airplane in the US, you can't fly it anymore? Isn't it Bombardier? Isn't that how you pronounce it? I got to look this up. I'll show you a little background on this. I don't think it's Bombardier. Maybe it's Bombardier. Well, let me see. Is it in French? Let's see. I think it's Bombardier, isn't it? Anyways, I don't know if I'll be able to figure it out now. Here's what AP says. Hey, one of our viewers said, Ben Van said I said it correctly. President Trump today threatened Canada with a 50% tariff on any aircraft sold in the U.S., his latest salvo in his trade war with America's northern neighbor. Does it say anything about the... Trump said the U.S. would decertify all Canadian aircraft, including planes from its largest aircraft maker, Bombardier. Trump said he is hereby decertifying the Bombardier Global Express business jets. There are 150 Global Express aircraft in service registered in the U.S. John Gradek, who teaches aviation management at McGill University, said certification is about safety and it would be unprecedented to decertify airplanes for trade reasons. Certification is not trivial, he said. It is a very important step in getting planes to operate safely, he said. Somebody is not picking on the Gulfstream. Decertification for trade reasons does not happen. So I don't understand what's really happening here. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But he did say in his post, we are hereby decertifying all Bombardier Global Express aircraft and all aircraft made in Canada in the U.S. until such time as Gulfstream is fully certified in Canada. Ben Shear says Trump is just mad at Canadians. All right. Hey, thanks to Treasure Please, our member. Thank you. Matthias Berglund, our member. Thank you so much. Ronald Kame, our member. Thank you. And hold on a minute here. Uh-oh. Hold on a moment. I'm a bit behind. Oh, also, people are so generous with the memberships tonight. Hey, thanks to Gary Baines, who gave 5 people memberships. Thanks, Gary. That's very nice of you. Thanks also to Mama B Tiny Treasures, who gave a membership. Thanks, Mama B Tiny Treasures. Also, thanks, Classy Kate. Classy Kate said, would Trump start the war so the media will stop reporting about Minneapolis? Thanks also Blind 420, who says super soccer planes used for fighting large fires are made in Canada. Could they be decertified? Interesting question, Blind 420. Thank you, Persian Evangelicals, who says, we Iranians are blessed to see freedom is coming back to our country by the help of President Trump and the U.S. Praise the Lord, we are grateful. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly, who said, Flight Radar 24 and Marine traffic have many forces converging to within weapon range of Iran? Do you mean like in recent days, Captain Jerry Donnelly? I checked, I mean, Flight Radar 24 right now, there's no plane that like tons of people are following. I mean, I don't know what might not be on there, but I just checked. Oops, hold on a second. Now I'm hearing 2 of myself. But I don't know what might not be. Yeah, I mean, the top flight plane has 2,200 people, and oops, what did I do here? What did I do? Most tracked flights. I need to refresh the page. That's what I need to do, is refresh the page. Oh yeah, the top flight is this drone which is flying around Persian Gulf of Strait of Hormuz, which is again, there have been drones flying around there for weeks. And then after that, there's a plane with 1,400. That is a U.S. Air Force plane. Where is that even flying? It's over here. That's a plane flying over Qatar. Anyways. But there might be all kinds of planes flying that we don't know about. But there have been people tracking planes the last several days, making their way towards the Middle East. Maybe that's what Captain Jerry Donnelly is talking about. We were talking about that earlier. Thank you, Matthias Berglund and Treasure Please. So again, we did a poll earlier tonight, and the most people, the winning, I said to you guys, when will the attack happen? Before the weekend, over the weekend, next week, or later / never. And on both YouTube and Twitch, the most popular choice was this weekend. A lot of you think that that's going to be an attack this weekend. NRKey thinks it won't happen before Friday night. I mean, it's already Friday morning where I am. I don't know if is the equipment, all the equipment they want there yet or not. Also, you know, like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times said Trump is considering options that even might include American commandos conducting raids on the ground in Iran. I would wonder if that's part of it. Would that make things more complex and require more planning? Thanks, Jasper Axelrod. I really appreciate it. And also Queen Shah for your support. Omar Canada says, tomorrow market closing. Some of our viewers are talking about the next moon. They're talking about moon phases. Elizabeth says the next full moon is February 1st. Again, it just seems like we're hearing about a lot of, as I talked about earlier in the stream, a lot more U.S. assets being sent to the region recently. Ships, and planes, and missile defense. Oh, by the way, the war zone says the Navy now has 10 warships in the CENTCOM area of responsibility, which includes the Middle East. By comparison, there are 12 warships in the Caribbean. So Trump had said, I think it's a bigger fleet than Venezuela, but I don't know that that's true. Trump had said that it's a larger fleet in the Middle East. You can read, there's an article posted on the War Zone, which I'll post the link to. It's a military news site. They talk about different assets being sent to the Middle East. In this article that came out yesterday on the 28th, they say flight trackers are showing an E-11A battlefield airborne communications node. Jet is heading to Suda Air Base in Crete, a common route for deployments to the Middle East. E-11As are highly specialized communications gateway nodes designed to create an active net over the battle space and quickly transfer data sent using a variety of distinct waveforms between different aerial platforms and forces on the ground/surface. Also in this article, they say it appears 6 U.S. Navy EA-18G Growlers electronic warfare jets have departed from their assignment to the Caribbean and are headed east across the Atlantic, potentially for deployment to the Middle East. The EA-18Gs in the Middle East would be critical force multipliers. Such a deployment could be indicative of what one would see in the lead-up to a kinetic operation centered heavily on strikes on targets in inland areas, such as ones the U.S. and possibly Israel might carry out and around in the future. Growlers can provide electronic warfare support for standoff munitions and/or aircraft penetrating into enemy air defenses, among other battlefield effects. There are also signs, says TWZ, the War Zone, that the HC-130J Combat King II combat search and rescue planes are moving toward the Middle East, another indication that Trump could be considering airstrikes inside Iran. The aircraft would be needed for rapid rescues of any air crews that are lost during military operations, specifically over contested territory. They can also support special operations aircraft with aerial refueling for non-personnel recovery missions. Also, at least a dozen additional F-15E Strike Eagle fighters were recently deployed to Jordan, to an air base in Jordan. Aerial refueling tankers have also trickled into the Middle East. Interestingly, this article is from 2 days ago from the War Zone, from the 28th, so like yesterday. The War Zone says, despite the potential presence of the Growlers and the movements of the F-15Es, there has still been no mass influx of U.S. Air Force tactical air power into the Middle East. This is something we would likely see if the U.S. intends to execute a sustained campaign, even if limited in scope, against Iran. This points to a more limited operation unless Israel steps in to provide its tactical fighter force in a joint operation. It's also very possible that these assets will deploy in the coming days. Also, I do want to, again, I'm going to post a link to this article. This is actually a very helpful article from the War Zone website about the different U.S. military resources that have been coming into the Middle East in recent days. I'm going to post a link to the article again right now, and you can read the whole thing. I'm just reading you some parts of it. Hold on a second here. I just posted the link. Okay. And the war zone also says, in addition, online flight tracking indicates the movement of new air and missile defense systems to the Middle East. As we predicted, the U.S. is sending additional Patriot and THAAD terminal high-altitude area defense systems to the Middle East for increased protection from any Iranian attack. Also, the war zone points out that Saudi Arabia on Tuesday said it would not allow the U.S. to use its facilities or airspace to attack Iran. That follows a similar statement made by the UAE. The war zone says taking airspace. Reduction in facilities to store and launch aircraft makes any strike more challenging and potentially increases the risk to host countries from Iranian missiles and drones. The countries hosting those assets. Taking airspace over Saudi Arabia and the UAE out of the picture also reduces the vectors from which the U.S. can launch attacks from the Gulf region, limiting them to a narrower set of funnels. That is also why the carrier strike group is so important. CNN also reported today, I didn't mention this, Trump weighs major new strike on Iran. CNN is reporting that Trump is considering options that include airstrikes aimed at Iran's leaders and the security officials believed to be responsible for the killings of protesters, as well as strikes on Iranian nuclear sites and government institutions. CNN also reports that recent U.S. intelligence reports, which Trump has been briefed on, indicate the Iranian regime is in a historically weak position following U.S. and Israeli strikes on nuclear sites and proxy forces last year and the protests that erupted earlier this month. But there's no guarantee that deposing Khamenei would mark the regime's downfall, said CNN in their article. Oh, also an interesting point that CNN made is, unlike Caracas, Tehran is hours from the coast, posing different challenges to a potential military operation there. Interesting. Again, I do want to recommend that article in the War Zone from yesterday. It really does a nice job of going through a bunch of different recent intelligence, including a recent reporting, including open source reporting about the resources heading to the Middle East in recent days. The title of the article is Destroyer, Electronic Surveillance Jet Joins U.S. Forces Massing in Middle East. And it goes through a lot of recent reporting and, again, open source intelligence about what's being sent. We'll post that link in the chat. For those of you looking for a nice little summary of that, I think it's a very good article. It's from the War Zone from the 28th. So thank them for letting me mention that, but I would check that out. Captain Jerry Donnelly says B-52, B-2, B-1 has no problem reaching Tehran. Rian1 says free Iran. Pappy mentions ADSB exchange. Yeah, that's another flight tracker you can check out is adsbexchange.com, and you can restrict it to, you can click on the U and restrict it to military aircraft. Now, there might be military aircraft you don't see on here, but there's Iran right there. Anyway, this you can go to adsbexchange.com and check out the aircraft there. You can also filter for military aircraft on Flight Radar 24. And I believe this is this Global Hawk RQ-4 drone, which is on Flight Radar as well. That's in over the water south of Iran. Surveillance drone, Global Hawk, right there. Tony A says, help Iran already. How many more people have to die? This is crazy. All right. Hold on a moment. We may. It is 2:14 a. It's 2:14 a.m. where I am, just so you know. Walks with Willow thinks the U.S. is a terrorist state. Maybe we'll do a couple more updates here. Walks with Willow says USA is a terrorist state. Oh, I was going to check something else here. Oh, I want to look at this. Let's just check this out for a second. I've even read this yet. We don't have to read the whole thing, but Atlantic Council often posts good articles. So they have a new article that was posted yesterday on the Atlantic Council. The expert conversation, should Trump strike Iran? What happens next if he does? I'm not going to read the whole article. Let's just kind of skim through this by Jason Brodsky and Danny Citrinowicz. AtlanticCouncil.org. They post articles relating to news and especially international relations. I appreciate them letting me show their site. So this is two experts, Jason Brodsky with Atlantic Council and Danny Citrinowicz with Atlantic Council. You can read. I'll post a link to the article if you want to read the whole thing. Let me just see if I can pull out a couple things from it. Hold on, see what they have to say. What's the most likely outcome if Trump acts on his pledge to protect the Iranian protesters? Brodsky, I urge humility. I think the president is engaging in his usual approach of simultaneously issuing confrontational and conciliatory. Conciliatory is when you try to reach an agreement. Messages towards Tehran. This forms the basis of a psychological operation to confuse Iranian decision-making, and it feeds into the Islamic Republic's impression of Trump as unpredictable. That has benefits. The president has a documented record in his first term of such military interventions following human rights abuses among autocratic regimes in the Middle East. He authorized airstrikes against the Assad government in Syria after it used chemical weapons in 2017. He says, Jason Brodsky says, he's criticized Barack Obama for setting a red line and then retreating from it. He says, I believe this, coupled with Iran's historic weakness and his very public messaging that help is on the way, will motivate the president to act. Jason Brodsky of Atlantic Council says Trump favors quick, surgical, targeted, dramatic, and decisive military operations, and this will be his likely approach, potentially combining leadership decapitations with degradation of Iran's military and security apparatuses. Such a U.S. military operation in Iran would be unprecedented. Thus, it is difficult to assess with great precision what might follow it in Iran. It depends on the extent of the strikes. The Islamic Republic is bigger than Supreme Leader Khamenei. It has institutions, plans, and procedures to fill the void should he be eliminated. Nevertheless, Khamenei has personalized his power to a significant degree in Iran. All right. If the U.S. government decides to target Khamenei, does it also target his son, who was a key lieutenant of his father and considered by some as a potential successor? Good question. There are also other potential contenders to replace Khamenei. Could they be targeted? Does the Trump administration target other military and political personalities in Iran, such as members of the Supreme National Security Council and Defense Council? This would have the potential of being doubly destabilizing should Khamenei perish, as it is from this cohort that a constitutional interim leadership council is formed. Interesting. The other expert, Sintrinowicz, says, even now, it remains clear how Trump intends to translate rhetorical support for Iranian protesters into effective policy. His statements and social media posts leave open two competing interpretations: that Washington seeks to leverage its substantial military presence in the Persian Gulf to pressure Iran on specific issues, or that Washington harbors broader ambitions of undermining or even toppling the regime itself. The latter, however appealing rhetorically, is not grounded in strategic reality, thinks this expert. It is critical to recognize that U.S. military action, limited or large scale, is unlikely to catalyze mass political mobilization inside Iran. On the contrary, a strike would more likely consolidate elite cohesion around the regime, marginalize protesters, and reinforce Tehran's long-standing narrative of external siege. Okay. That's interesting. Those are some interesting discussions. I'm going to post a link to this Atlantic Council article again. I just want to kind of skim through here. They talked to two experts. Okay, they talk about what about if the Iranian regime hangs on? What would you recommend to the U.S. president? Brodsky. The Trump administration should adopt a whole-of-government approach aimed at weakening the Iranian regime using diplomatic, economic, military, kinetic, cyber, and covert tools. The other expert says, the dilemma facing U.S. policy makers is stark. Military action carries a high risk of regional escalation, threatens U.S. partners and assets in the Gulf, and could draw the United States into another prolonged Middle Eastern conflict. As a result, the most effective tools available to Washington remain economic and diplomatic pressure. From a U.S. standpoint, this expert believes encouraging political change from within the existing system is far preferable to attempting to impose regime change from without. The latter, a goal that is costly, unpredictable, and historically fraught. Even if Trump ultimately opts for military action, U.S. interests would be best served by a symbolic, tightly calibrated strike, one aimed at preserving deterrence while enabling a controlled de-escalation and maintaining broader pressure on Tehran. Anyways, I got to go back and read the whole article. So again, this is an article in the Atlantic Council. They talk to a couple of experts in the region about their perspective on all this, but I was just trying to show you some of it. I'll post the link in the chat again. You can read the whole thing. But yeah, there are experts who say that they don't think the U.S. can, without sending troops in, for example, really force regime change there. Devil Doc says, make Iran great again. Garrett Williams says it is not our job to take care of Iran or its citizens. Rian one says, I think we'll have to be on the ground. Andrew Hollanda thinks regime is weak as hell. A point I made before, I just want to make again. As you can see in that article from the War Zone, I've been telling you that in recent days there have been reports and people doing open source intelligence stuff in recent days talking about how they're seeing more U.S. military equipment go to the region. Now, on the one hand, that might suggest, hey, this is close because they're sending all this stuff there, and all the stuff is there that wasn't there before. I just don't know if the U.S. is done sending stuff there. If they're sending stuff there every day and they're not done, maybe the U.S. wants to wait until, maybe Trump wants to wait until everything's there. I don't know that everything's there that needs to get there yet. Hey, thanks to Express Investing from New Zealand. There's been no U.S. attacks in Iran yet. I mean, since, what was it, last year? Thank you, Express Investing. Thanks also, died suddenly for being a member, Pajama Sauver People. Pajamas, no, it's not Pajamas Sauver People, it's Pajamas Over People. Thank you for being a member. Thanks, Bass 3003, who says, not sure if getting an operation done before Ramadan is a factor, but it's coming up soon. Might be smart as to not make additional waves in the region. Ramadan starts in 2026 on February 17th. Interesting point. Ramadan starts on the evening of February 17th and goes to Thursday, March 19th. Thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly, again for your support. Ramadan is a month observed by Muslims worldwide, is a month of fasting, communal prayer, reflection, and community, says Wikipedia. Thank you also, Mom of 457 Rose. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. Cindy McAfee sent me a post about K-135s leaving Washington. If you go to flightradar24.com, where's the filters? Filters, military aircraft, add new filter. That should work, right? Oh, hold on. Yeah, I have now filtered it for military aircraft. So that's a U.S. Air Force plane. I don't know where this is going. That is a U.S. Air Force plane that took off from Tacoma, a C-17 Globemaster. I don't know which planes people are looking at here. I also don't know what planes are normally flying where. So I can't really do this analysis. There's people online who know more about these things, who know like, oh, that plane must be going there, or you normally don't say that plane there. But if you do go to Flight Radar 24, you can turn the filter on for military aircraft. Sheepmaster says the real mission wouldn't show a military aircraft in the sky. Yeah, I mean, I don't think if they were really attacking now, you'd see this stuff. Unless the U.S. wanted you to. Still no attacking, says Adam Moore. Anyways, but you can be on the lookout if you want to check out, try to find planes flying over there or flying towards there. PW360 thinks that Trump might have not taken questions today because there was an Israeli delegation at the White House for an urgent meeting. I hadn't heard that. Thanks for writing in PW360. BBC had an article 2 days ago on the 28th that said there has been a slow, steady, and significant buildup of U.S. military forces in the region. They say that over the past few weeks, scores of additional U.S. military aircraft have been tracked by open source intelligence arriving in the region. Also, they point out how there seemed to be instructed in the last couple weeks at Al Udeid Air Force Base, the largest American facility in the Middle East. I'll post a link to that article so you can check that out. Where is this thing here? Well, we'll have to see what happens, guys. It is, all right, so we're getting a little late here. It's about 2:30 a.m. where I am. So again, I think, the big takeaway right now is there has been a lot of, in recent days and recent weeks, U.S. military resources moving into the region. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? I do not know. Remember, President Trump told Iran time is running out. It is truly of the essence. He said this on the 28th. Make a deal, he said. The next attack will be far worse than Operation Midnight Hammer. Don't make that happen again. Michelle Batten says if they're going to attack, I think she said they're going to do it before the holiday. Maybe we'll do one last poll here. One last poll. At the end, will Iranian regime be in place, still be in place at end of year? the regime, not necessarily the supreme leader. I mean, the supreme leader I think is 86 years old anyway. Last poll question. Oops. I think I did that wrong. Oh, no, I did it right. I just posted it on YouTube. Now I'm going to post it on Twitch. For me to post it on Twitch. Where did Twitch go? Where did it go? Trying to find the Twitch thing so I can post it for you. Nope. Here it is. Our last poll of the night. Will the Iranian regime still be in place at the end of this year? What do people think? We have right now on YouTube 66% say no. 66% say no. The regime itself will not be in place. What happened here? What happened here? Now I can't move this thing. For some reason I can't move this thing. Let me try this again. Better. Why is that not letting me move it? Sorry, having a bit of an issue here. What is that? What is going on? Things are acting a little funky right now. Is it because of this? No. Why can't I move this? This thing does not want to move. Let me pull up the Twitch thing. Twitch is saying, I think it's pretty, but I think it's the same on YouTube and Twitch. All right, hold on a second here. For some reason, I can't move these things around. Things are getting weird. They're getting all funky. What did I do here? I did something funky. Something funky happened. Everything's acting kind of funky at the end of the stream. Anyways, you can see there it says 67% on Twitch think that the regime will not be in place at the end of the year. And on YouTube, it says 67%. 6-7, there you go. Our 6-7 fans are very happy in our audience. So about 2/3 of you think the regime in Iran will fall by the end of the year. Bold prediction from our audience. Thanks for voting in our poll. All right, things are falling apart here. For some reason, I can't move any of that stuff that I want to move. I think it might be our time. Guys, I think we might be reaching that time of the evening. This was a bonus coverage stream tonight. But will we be covering Iran more this weekend? It beats me. It beats me. But I feel like we've maybe at least given a basic summary of the state of things. Oh, by the way, thanks to Sevenfold, who says all war is based upon deception, according to Sun Tzu. Attack when you appear weak and defend when you appear strong. Thanks, Sevenfold. Also, Classy Kate. Thanks, Classy Kate. I'm not aware of that story, Classy Kate, but thank you. Also, ACC75, who says, let's not forget the Iranian regime tried to assassinate Trump. So this is a factor in him wanting to topple the regime. That's what ACC75 says. Hale Manish says, when will 24 hours deadline end for Iran? I don't believe President Trump has given them a 24-hour deadline. I don't recall him giving it to them. I'll let you know if he does. Thank you, Express Investing, and also WKRP in Salt Lake City, who says, I hope the Revolutionary Guard doesn't do a dirty bomb to Tehran on their way out. That's from WKRP in Salt Lake City. Thank you. All right, so JV says Trump is a warmonger. Hasseldehoff says Trump needs to focus on USA. Okay. We're going to be covering this. We're going to keep you up to date. I don't know what's going to happen. Seems like there's a whole range of things, including, as multiple outlets are reporting, there's a possibility of some really major military activity. But at the same time, remember what that Atlantic Council article said. Trump seems to like, more quick, limited things. Okay. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys joining us for our coverage tonight of Iran. We did an update on the new Fed chair. President Trump's supposed to announce it tomorrow. Remember, supposedly it's going to be Kevin Warsh, and President Trump said he's going to announce it tomorrow morning. Maybe he'll surprise people and not announce Kevin Warsh. Again, hopefully, I'm assuming people didn't see the headline and think the headline the attack was going to be in 5 minutes. That was not my intention. My intention was just to talk about how there's a lot of talk this could happen in the coming days. Fresh Apple says Trump is focused on the USA. He wants their oil and the money. Will I be reporting on it tomorrow morning or tomorrow night? If stuff happens to warrant it, I'll jump on the air. I don't know. A bunch of our viewers think something's going to happen this weekend. But I really appreciate you guys being here. I got to read a lot of comments tonight, which was helpful. And thanks for sending in your comments and your news updates. And certainly, we will be keeping an eye on this situation. If you want, you can subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. And I will post updates on my X account, which is @Lookner on X. What happened to Bitcoin, by the way? Did it go back up? Bitcoin around 83,000 right now. @Lookner on X, that's where I cover breaking news when I'm not on the air. You can follow me over there, and I will post updates if I see them. And also, what's happening here? What's going on? Everything is falling apart. Things are not working. And what else was I going to say? Oh, turn on notifications for the channel. I never know when something huge is going to happen. Going to have to rush on the air. But turn on our free notifications so you get sent a notification whenever we go live. They're really reliable. They work well. It's easy to sign up. It's free. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. And you can also find that notifications link to sign up on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this video. I don't need these on right now. And what else want to mention? Hey, huge thanks to our moderators. We were on twice today, and our moderators have been here. Oh, by the way, real quick, Alex Gray says it'll happen this weekend. Due to the religious matter, I bet it'll happen after Sunday Mass. That's what Alex says. Thanks, Alex, for your support. Hey, and thanks to our moderators. They've been here twice today, 'cause we've had twice 2 broadcasts. Ruth and Roberts May Queen, thank you so much. And all of our YouTube moderators who have been there. That is how we can have our chat rooms, is our moderators. So really nice of them to be here for all the broadcasts today over on Twitch. Idaho Star Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah in Surly Dev, big thanks, and all of our Twitch mods, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, on Facebook, people like Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley, and Paul Anderson. Thanks for being there. And anybody else I didn't get. Thanks to all of our moderators. Let's see here. I missed Callista. Callista said, they said Kevin Warsh has recently advocated for policy that would allow lower short-term interest rates. Thanks, Callista. I'm sorry I didn't see your comment before. Anyways, thanks to all of our moderators. Thanks to everybody who donated. That is super nice of you guys. Wow. And I think I got everybody. Oh, I didn't get Koagoose and Cece over on Twitch and Desi. Oh, I got behind on thanking people on Twitch. That's my bad. Desi, Koagoose, Cece, and X Legends. Oh, I'm sorry. Twitch, I got behind on thanking you. My bad. Thank you so much. And also, who was it who gave like 200 memberships? That happened tonight as well. I thanked her a number of times before. My brain has stopped working. Who was it? Someone can help me remember. Cindy Larson. No, Cindy Larson, right? No, Candy Larson. That's what it is. Candy Larson. Man, Candy gave, I think, 200 people memberships. Unbelievable. That was really nice of her. Oh, thanks, TDO417 from Canada. Very nice of you. Hey, thanks, guys. That's so kind of you. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv, but you are the ones that allow this channel to exist. So huge thanks to you. That's really nice of you guys. Thank you so much. Very, very kind. Also, what was I going to mention? Another good way to find out when we're going live and get a heads up is follow us on X at AgendaFreeTV. I always give you a heads up in advance over there when we're going live at AgendaFreeTV. I post updates about the channel there as well. Also, we do have a chat. A bunch of our viewers like talking in our Discord chat. It's free. You can talk to other viewers when we're not live. Check out our Discord chat. Agenda Free TV Discord chat. The link is the same link as the free notifications link. And big thanks to our Discord mods over there on Discord, overseeing things there. Thank you so much. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I highly recommend that you turn on the YouTube notifications. That's another great way to find out when we're live. Let me just show you this. To sign up for the YouTube notifications, you got to subscribe to the channel, and then you click this bell here. Then you choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed, make sure you click the bell and choose all notifications. Turn on notifications. Will something happen this weekend? Guys, will something happen this weekend? I just don't know. I just don't know. Thanks to our viewer, Dinosaur Eggshell. The Cryptic likes the X notifications. Says those work well. Hey, huge thanks to, you know what I forgot to do this broadcast? I did not thank the Facebook and Twitch subscribers earlier in the broadcast, or the members. That I did not do, and I apologize. I think I thanked a couple of subscribers, but Christy Claff, thanks for subscribing on Facebook. All of our Facebook subscribers, Martha Crawford, Michael Clayton. I thanked a few of them earlier. Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley. Randy Economy, our subscriber on Facebook. Christy Claft. Thanks, Randy and Christy, and all of our other subscribers over on Facebook. Thank you so much for your support. Chuck Mosca says, how can Trump attack nuclear sites? He said he obliterated them in the last campaign. Well, but there was a specific amount of them. Maybe there's other sites that he wants to attack. Thank you, Chuck. Also, we have our subscribers on Twitch. Really appreciate the subscribers over there for supporting the channel, like Wall Street and Shaggy and Amalian and Sarah and Stunned in the North and Zing Dingaling, Sharkingly, Babster B, Amalian. Let's see who else is over there. Matthew Kohai 3, Secret Formula. Jack's Animals. Naomi Russo, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Jazzy Renee, thank you. Who else is there? Thank you so much to all My Mind Spray and all of our Twitch subscribers and our YouTube members. Got to thank our YouTube members. Lego Mike YT, Tanks a Lot, CAC 813, Waltham Mass, Mama 457 Rose, Juzbo Jangles, James WR5MV, Sevenfold Ken Lance, Evelyn in Maine, Hasseldehoff, Val Cargo, JV, Unauthorized Nostalgia, Lynn Downey, Mama 457 Rose, Kenai Rose, CAC 813, Dolores Wilson, thank you, Gary Baines, What's the Big Dilly, Tanks a Lot, and all of our other members and all of our other viewers. Thanks, Bubbles, for watching. Thanks, Bernard Tapey, for watching. Taylands Gurus Den 6, thanks for watching. The Cryptic, Juliana Martin, Chuck Mosca, Paula Thompson. I think Paula Thompson was there. Stephen Orr, thank you for watching. Brendan Brumond, thank you. Michelle Batten, Biza B, Penolta, Sienna Bit, Michael One Rare Zebra, Who Shot JR, Pre-Breakfast Banana, and everybody else watching Popuku and Pupipimi. All right, guys, we're wrapping up this stream. I'll be keeping an eye out this weekend. If there's big developments, we'll come on the air and cover it. I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know. Thanks, Kevin Bird, for watching as well. All right, thanks again, guys, for joining me. That is it for now. Thanks for watching our update on Iran and the new Fed chair update and other things. And we'll keep you posted, and I'll keep an eye out for developments about Iran. That is it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.